Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Get your space ready for the year ahead at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like 3-piece comforter sets, $24.99. Get creative in the kitchen with cookware sets, just $39.99. And prep for a future getaway with 65 to 75% off luggage closeouts from Samsonite, Travel Pro, Delsey, and more. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply. Get your space ready for the year ahead at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like 3-piece comforter sets, $24.99. Get creative in the kitchen with cookware sets, just $39.99. And prep for a future getaway with 65 to 75% off luggage closeouts from Samsonite, Travel Pro, Delsey, and more. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of refried smell on your boy?
What'd that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
I'm right in the middle of a Mission Impossible marathon.
Like the one with Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
Tom Hanks. Tom Cruise.
The Tom Cruise one. So I haven't seen the last one. The what was it called? I don't even remember. I know I saw
the one that came out last summer.
I know I saw Ghost Protocol. I don't know if I saw the one after that, and I definitely didn't see the one last summer.
But you just
I think Rogue Nation is the one in between, and then Fallout is the one that... So I wanted to watch them, but I'm like, fuck it. I haven't seen these in forever. And this is kind of an interesting franchise because...
It sucks, then it doesn't suck, then it sucks, then it doesn't suck.
So far... The first Mission Impossible is directed by Brian De Palma and is such a love letter to film noir. It definitely pulled a lot more from classic detective stories than it did from the types of spy thrillers that Mission Impossible, the TV show, and other things like 007 that were popular around that time, the super spies. There's some of that. But it's a lot of, damn it, I always forget his name. What's Angelina Jolie's dad?
John Voight.
Yeah, John Voight. There's a lot of John Voight in, trench coats.
True.
And being lit, through Venetian blinds. So you see, the pattern over his face. Smoking a cigarette. All this shit, it's so noir, and there's not a lot of action. I mean, there's people die and there's that Emilio Estevez scene where he gets the spike in the head.
Yeah,
early on. But overall, yeah, it's a very. Has way more to do with Hitchcock than any Mission Impossible that came before it.
I never saw this piece of shit. The soundtrack alone was enough to scare me away.
Mission Impossible 2?
Yes.
Oh my god. It's like night and day between the two because
Michael Bay involved in Mission Impossible 2?
No, John Woo. It was a John Woo film. And yeah, it's the metal version of the theme song. Is this Limp Bizkit?
Sure is.
Oh my god. The movie is thankfully light on the actual song, although the soundtrack in general is just as bad.
Oh. Yeah.
My headphones are cutting out, but I didn't mind.
This gem.
And it sounds just like, what was that? He said, she said bullshit song. Yeah. It sounds like the exact same song. I thought he was going to go into it.
This fucking gem.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god, this is one of the end credit songs, and I'm like, oh my god,
This is
that's
arguably one of Metallica's worst.
Metallica.
Obviously, arguably one of their worst
Oh,
songs.
it's gotta be. So this film is like totally different. The first film is like about intrigue and double crossing, and this is about spin kicks and slow motion doves.
Yeah.
Like there's literally a scene where he's karate chopping the air, running through a tunnel, and he disturbs there's some doves or some pigeons or whatever in this underground thing for some reason. And he disturbs him as he runs by, and then it goes into slow motion. You just see like the one dove spread its wings dramatically in front of it as he rounds the corner and starts firing his weapon. And all of his I don't know why everyone thinks that John Woo is like this really great action director. You know,
Because was he the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon guy?
No, he was the. He had some some films that heavily influenced Quentin Tarantino. That were, it would be like a hitman that, they have him take it. There's a hit out on a young girl or something like that, and he decides to protect her instead, and then goes up against everyone.
Professional.
Yes, something like that. That's basically it. And I think I don't know who did it first, if it was if The Professional or if it was the John Woo films that I'm thinking of. I think the John Woo, it's probably around the same era, but even then that story goes back even further than that. And really, I mean, they were these over the top super cop types of stories where like no one's really concerned about reloading or physics or anything. It's just how cool
he can walk into 45 rounds being fired
Right.
at him and nothing hits him.
He the whole reason that the cool characters in movies have a gun in each hand is because of John Woo.
John Woo's the
John
gun in
Woo-
each hand guy.
John Woo that was his signature move, was to have the main character dive out from somewhere holding two handguns and just waste everyone.
Who's the real pioneer? Who's the sideways gun guy?
I think that was Snoop Dogg. No, I don't know. I should have said Ice
At some
Cube.
point, people started holding guns sideways.
Yeah.
And I'm not a gun guy, but I know enough about guns to know that people who know about guns always go like, "No, you could never hold a gun like that. You would not hit anything.
You could, yeah, but it's
Your
not
aim
as
would be horrible, from what I hear.
Your aim would be bad. I mean, but you're not really. This is like a close range type of thing, anyway.
Wouldn't a recoil fuck your wrist up?
I think that's the thing. Is I think that you have probably more control over the gun's recoil because you're basically using your whole forearm to brace that, Whereas if you're holding it sideways, it seems like it would all be in your wrist. And then your wrist would want to cock back, and that would have a wider angle, and you'd
shoot yourself in the
skew
face.
off. You'd shoot Marvin in the face, right?
Poor Marvin. He never saw it coming.
So, I mean, yeah, what a way to go. Like, he had no
idea. It was quick.
Yeah.
He didn't suffer. It's like the last thing he heard was a loud bang, and then that was it.
I was watching the Americans, and they killed off this Russian character who had been jailed. She was like a traitor to her country, and then she did some shit to get back in the good graces of Mother Russia, and then ended up fucking it up again. And then finally they drag her out of her cell, and they're like, your appeal has been denied, and your sentence of death will continue and will be carried out shortly. And she just breaks down crying, and then
But surely we mean now.
Yeah, bullet in the back of the head right there. That's how they do it in
Russia
in
got
Russia,
down.
I guess. I mean, this is television version of Russia. I don't know how historically accurate the Americans are, although they do pull from a lot from history.
Is this back when Khrushchev was in charge?
Khrushchev, at this point, I think had just died.
Oh.
And that was around the time that Ronald Reagan had his evil empire speech about Russia, right?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down that wall.
That was
him or Bush?
That was Reagan. That was a little later. That would probably be 86 or 87. That was towards the end of his presidency.
Because Khrushchev was before Gorbachev, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, then when Gorbachev was like through the majority. So I think around 82, 83 is when Khrushchev died.
Was Khrushchev the guy after Stalin, or was there a guy between him and Stalin?
I couldn't tell you that far back.
Yeah, because now I think we're getting into before we were born.
Yeah, I'm going purely off of what I've seen on TV so far.
Yes.
No, so what was I saying? Oh, the Mission Impossible movies. So it's
why? Oh, wait.
Well, but because they're fun. They're all fun. I mean,
that's right. I always forget that your dirty little secret is you like a good action movie.
I do like a good action movie.
You like to see shit blowing up.
And I like the Fast and Furious.
You've probably seen more Fast and Furious movies than I have.
Yeah.
I've seen a Fast and Furious movie.
Although Fast and Furious, I kind of just get into the car stuff. So, like, I like Tokyo Drift. I haven't experienced the, like, superhero, quote-unquote, versions of the newer Fast and Furious where they're, like...
Ones where physics don't matter?
Right. Yeah, where they can just do whatever they need to, whatever the story calls for. So, I don't know. Maybe I can get into that. But I also kind of have a soft spot for Tom Cruise, too, which is funny because my daughter... So, we're watching each movie. So, we watched the first one, and I'm kind of explaining some of it to her. And... I don't think, Tom Cruise isn't even really on her radar. So we're watching, so in the first movie, he's got really kind of close cropped hair. This is 96, I want to say. Shorter hair with like a little bit of spikiness to it is kind of vogue at the time. By 2000 in the John Woo film, now the long hair is back in, So he's got longer hair.
Well, it's the rocker movie, too.
Yeah, it totally is. And that's when 2000s was when quote unquote metal came back, right? That's the height of new metal. And right, so that haircut was like that's what he
couch jumping Tom Cruise.
What year was this?
This is early. I was living back in Detroit, but barely.
Yeah,
so this is like maybe 03, 04, maybe even 05, maybe.
Okay, so this is probably around MI3.
Yeah,
which he did have. He did have the shorter hair again. Each movie though,
Oprah's not fat.
Each movie, Izzy sees it.
This is thin Oprah face.
My daughter sees Tom Cruise with a different haircut, and she's like, "Is that Ethan Hunt?" Ha! And I'm like, "How do you not recognize Tom Cruise?" She's like, "I don't.
She's like,
I don't
I'm
know."
12.
Right.
I'm 12, old guy.
It's kind of weird to like think that somebody in the U.S. could watch a movie and not go, "Oh, it's a Tom Cruise movie." They're like,
"When did you jump on the couch?"
There was some short guy with crooked teeth in the movie. He seemed cool.
Yeah. I know. Have you ever felt this? There it is.
He's
weird. Happy because he's 40, banging a 25-year-old.
He reminds me of
that's really what's going on in this clip. I'm banging a 25-year-old, Oprah.
Well, the crowd is so egging him on too.
Well, because an applause sign just probably stayed lit.
Did he do? So he jumped on the couch.
Hey, remember
twice?
In the 90s when Rosie O'Donnell pretended she wanted to fuck him?
Oh, yeah.
She had her talk show.
Forgot about that.
Some I have to discuss with her personally, but you know.
Okay. He's out of his mind. He is out of his mind.
He's manic.
He's manhandling here. He can't.
There is some type of drug he is not on. He should be on.
I think he's what is that called? It's not Indian wrestling because that's with the legs. What do you call the arm wrestling that you do standing up when you like lock hands and try and wrestle each other to the ground?
Greco-Roman? I don't know.
It's something like what he's trying to do.
Yeah, there's some kind of drug he should be on. He's not on in this video. Or he took too much of.
Yeah.
Because he is manic. I mean, I get it. You're 40 and you have 25-year-old pussy. It's cool.
Yeah.
You probably act the same way.
All right, he's talking about
Katie Holmes.
Yes.
This is all about Katie Holmes.
Well, so we got through up to the third Mission Impossible movie. Third Mission Impossible is J.J. Abrams. And
was it good?
It's a decent movie. It's fun. it's got a great cast. It's probably got one of the strongest casts. Philip Seymour Hoffman plays the villain. The guy who plays one of Ray Donovan's brothers is in it as like, I think he has one line and he's supposed to be Russian or something, or German. What's her name? Felicity from The Americans.
Carrie Russell.
Carrie Russell is in it. She has the scene where the micro bomb blows up in her brain and it sends one of her eyeballs like all askew.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, there's a Philip Seymour Hoffman's character implants a micro bomb in her brain and triggers it, and you just see like her eyes go all
that
weird
old trope.
and just This movie is like the complete opposite of the first movie, though. The first movie is very methodical and slower paced. The J.J. Abrams MI3 does not stop. It is constantly, it does it well, but it's constantly from action scene to action scene. Everything going on. There's a few interstitial scenes where they're like, "Are we going to do this mission?" Yes, and it's not like in the Brian De Palma film. You got like a 10-minute sequence of people going, "This is our mission. This is what we're going to do. Here's your job. Here's your job." There's some banter. You get some character development. All that banter and character development is pushed into the action sequences. And in between, you've got guys like, "Okay, we're doing this, right? Yep, lock and load. Let's go." Into the next scene. We're crossing a bridge and there's a helicopter.
Man, they went the other way on this soundtrack.
That's the other kind of cool thing, because I don't think that you're going to be able to do it as well now with the newer movies, but the way that the first three are kind of spaced out, where it wasn't a given that it was a franchise, right? They just they did a Mission Impossible movie, and then at one point they're like, "Hey, we can do a sequel," and then, but there was like 3 or 4 years in between each movie. And you get to see the styles change, the hairstyles change, the musical styles change, and the directorial styles change, from noir to like classic action to this new hyper-paced, because there's a lot. The J.J. Abrams movie is probably the closest to any contemporary action film that we see now, where they're just like that. They're just super fast-paced. And yeah,
Metallica.
This is
they went the other way in this soundtrack. This soundtrack does nothing but like actual music from the motion picture.
Yes, I think there's some break beats in there to modernize it a little bit, but that's about it. Still, though, I mean, if you want to talk Mission Impossible soundtracks, the first one was Danny Elfman.
Yes,
you can't. I mean, where do you go from Danny Elfman?
They had U2's version of the Mission Impossible theme.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Oh,
was that on the soundtrack? I don't remember that.
Sure was.
I didn't watch the credits, so maybe it was. Maybe they saved that one for the credits.
Larry Mullen was in all his glory with the distorted bass taking the lead.
Isn't he a junior?
Oh, that's right, Larry Mullen.
Larry Mullen Jr.?
No, that's Danny Elfman.
He stays pretty true to the original theme with his main theme, but the rest of the music is
hilarious if U2 has had this scrubbed from the fucking radio or from the fucking internet. Like,
the U2's Mission Impossible theme.
Yeah,
I kind of remember it, but I don't know if I've heard it since 1996.
There it is.
It's funny too is that so far I hope they break this trend, but there's the iconic scene in the first movie where he drops down into the secured room, right, and he has to catch his sweat, and he's got the sound monitor and all that, which is it has to be a great scene. I mean, it kind of hinges around that because that's what we know from the movie hinges on that scene because that's what we know from the original
Bottom play keyboard?
The original Mission Impossible and movies like that, It was a lot of like, we have to defeat the most complex security systems and go up against And so he comes down on the wire and he's suspended in midair, and the scene's better than I remember it because there's no music during the whole thing. It's like it makes you hold your breath, and it feels like you're right there in that room with them. Like, don't make a fucking sound. Then, so far, 2 and 3 both have scenes where at some point he's hanging from wires, and they just, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work anywhere near the same.
By Ghost Protocol, they kill that trend.
I think so.
That's 4, right?
Yeah, I think Ghost Protocol is 4. Yeah, then Rogue Nation, then Fallout. But yeah, I mean, in the John Woo one, there's a room where they grow this virus, and they want sunlight, so they have this long shaft that he's got to drop through on the wire. But there's nothing else. I mean, I guess it's kind of, you're defeating a high-tech security system, but I don't know. That wasn't the cool thing about the original scene, was the fact that Tom Cruise was on a wire. But it's probably a studio mandate.
Right.
Like, studio says that you got to put Tom on a wire.
He's got to be on a motorcycle.
Tom says he's got to be on a motorcycle. I don't know how Brian De Palma kept Tom Cruise off a motorcycle for that film. I don't remember him ever being on a motorcycle in that film. And I'm guessing...
Maybe it's in the footage, it didn't make it.
That's what I was thinking. There's a lot of B-roll of Tom driving around his motorcycle.
Yeah, Tom, yeah, sure, yeah, we're getting this.
Or not, yeah. Is there film in the camera? No.
By the way, is this it for Tom Cruise's career options?
Mission Impossible?
I mean, this is pretty much...
Well, they're doing 2 more. Like, they're shooting
in general.
2 back-to-back.
He had that movie that he came out with last year. It was about the CIA pilot or something.
Yeah, I don't...
But as far as Tom Cruise, this is how you're getting paid in 2019 forward, right?
Certainly.
I mean, he's not exactly the box office draw that he was 20 plus years ago. Mm. All right, this ain't Cocktail.
Yeah, but he's still...
Top Gun was a long time ago.
He has to be like the most consistent.
Going on, isn't it?
What, Top Gun?
Top Gun sequel.
It's a Top Gun sequel, so we'll get that definitely. But is he ever going to do anything new? Is the question, right? I imagine that he'll have this somewhat awkward phase where he goes away for a little while and maybe does some indie movies, and then he comes back like
as an old guy,
Taken style, right? He lets the gray grow in a little bit, and then he gets to play the dad. The action.
When's it going to happen? Isn't he like 60?
He gets to play the Liam Neeson. He's the action dad. That's what Liam Neeson is
action
now.
Dad.
He's action dad with the kung fu grip.
What's the point? When's this going to happen for Mr. Cruise? Clock's ticking.
Well, I think it has to be a conscious choice to stop consuming fetal tissue.
Well, he's got a good supply coming to him from the Church of Scientology. Gets those fresh baby foreskins delivered to him every morning. All right,
yeah, I mean, when you have thetans running through your system keeping you young, then you have to actively choose to age.
It's a little rough on him. But still, he's 56.
He's 56 years old.
If he's going to go away and come back gray, he's better do it soon.
Yeah, I guess it's by the time he hits 60, right? He's got to have some gray showing by 60.
Yeah.
Like Harrison Ford held out.
Who's the guy Adam Carolla always makes fun of?
He always talks about what's his name, the Beatle, Paul.
Oh yeah, Paul McCartney. Yeah, Paul McCartney's pushing 80, not a gray hair on his head. And I'm with him. Like, come on, Paul. Come on. You can at least let it show up in the temples at this point.
Yes.
You're 80. Or you're almost 80.
Well, we saw him with James Corden. Remember? He was driving around. He's got a little bit of it showing. He's starting to show his age in appropriate ways.
Shop new looks for the new year at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like sweaters from Clubroom, Alfani, Inc., and more. $19.99 to $29.99. And get 40 to 60% off coats and boots. Then add the finishing touch to any look with fine jewelry clearance 70% off. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply. Get your space ready for the year ahead at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like 3-piece comforter sets, $24.99. Get creative in the kitchen with cookware sets, just $39.99. And prep for a future getaway with 65 to 75% off luggage closeouts from Samsonite, Travel Pro, Delsey, and more. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply. Get your space ready for the year ahead at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like 3-piece comforter sets, $24.99. Get creative in the kitchen with cookware sets, just $39.99. And prep for a future getaway with 65 to 75% off luggage closeouts from Samsonite, Travel Pro, Delsey, and more. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. The Weedsman Podcast.
Speaking of the Beatles, though, I was listening to Penn Jillette's podcast, and he was talking to, what is his name?
Ringo or Paul, if we're talking about Beatles. Oh.
He was talking to George Martin's son.
Oh. George R.R. Martin?
Yeah, I never thought of that. They have the same name. Do they? Or am I getting it wrong? Am I conflating the two?
No.
His name's George Martin, right?
Yes.
All right.
George Martin's the producer, R.R. Martin's the book guy.
Yes. So he's talking, and this came up because they were talking about Ringo and how Ringo gets this reputation for being not a great drummer.
Luckiest person ever.
Right.
In the history of the planet.
Here's what Junior Martin said. Whatever his name is.
Good old Junior Martin.
Sounds like an R&B artist, right?
Right.
He said that Ringo was essential to the band because he was the only one of the band that was interested in playing a song.
I said that wasn't a dick?
No. He said that he's the only Beatle member that's interested in playing a song, that he is basically the conductor for the Beatles. Because the rest of them, I forget exactly how he put it, but Paul is only concerned about the melody of the song. John's only concerned about the guitar stuff. Or maybe that was
it's like Ringo's magnum opus right here.
But basically saying that, and this is part of what makes the Beatles great, is the disparate elements that they're bringing in from all different influences, right? A lot of people look at the Beatles as like groundbreaking, but they broke ground like any artist really breaks ground. Most artists break ground, I should say. And that's by combining things that we hadn't heard before, It started as just, ripping off black music and R&B and rock and roll, but it turned into taking melodies from their father's records, going back to older show tunes and jazz and country music and all these different influences and world music too. When you think about their trip to India and all that, all these influences they introduced into pop music while still having the core of a catchy song and a good melody.
They
and
never
good
went
harmonies.
to India. I could never skip With and Without You every time I listen to Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh man, you skipped that?
I like ironically, I dig the instrumental of that way more than the version with words.
Yeah,
like the version that they put out on the anthology that had no words. Like I'll listen to that one all day.
I agree with you on that. His basic point was that each one of these guys, except for Ringo, was kind of concerned about their part, and they had, what they thought was the essential element of the song that they wanted to make really strong. And Ringo was the only one putting that all together and going, okay, but this has to have a verse and a chorus and a bridge, right? And so it's going to start now, and it goes like this, and it goes into the chorus, and he's the one giving them those cues and keeping them all on the same page.
Ringo's the one going, hey guys, remember, it's a band.
Because that's part of the brilliance of the Beatles, is that they did make it all work. They were kind of constructed in the way that they were chosen for their instruments based, I guess, on their appearance, because John's like the best drummer out of the Beatles, so they say. Paul was a guitar player. He was kind of forced to pick up bass.
Bass, because someone has to do it.
Right. Without somebody to hold it all together and to keep it in a pop song format or structure, you'd just have a lot of weird experimental music. You'd have like the Velvet Underground, right? Mm-hmm. If you didn't have the pop sensibilities, the Beatles would just be one of those bands that probably hit semi-big, but mostly had greater influence on later bands. Velvet Underground is the band that nobody gave a fuck about at the time, except for their connections to Warhol. And then every band since then has credited them in their top 5 influencers.
Aren't you supposed to say that? A lot of musicians feel they're supposed to give that answer.
Right. Just like now they have to, like Radiohead felt obliged to say Velvet Underground, and now bands feel obliged to say Radiohead.
Yes. Ringo jamming in the left channel.
But how could you expect? That's why most musician interviews are so boring, because that they're just giving the answers that aren't. If you really ask them about what they're listening to or who the people that majorly influence them are, it would be a longer discussion going off into shit that the interviewer and the audience had never heard of before, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Okay. Oh, right. And what do you come away with? This guy is some pretentious music snob who's, is cooler than everyone else, and he listens to stuff that we've never heard of, and nobody wants to read that shit. So they just go,
not anymore.
Oh, Radiohead.
I think
or
in the
Beatles.
90s we loved that shit.
Yeah. They're probably in the grunge scene. There was definitely that.
Oh yeah.
Like anyone in a grunge band, if they went on like 120 minutes and were asked, who are you listening to right now?
If you listed people that people had heard of, that was it.
Yeah.
Your street cred was done.
Yeah, they'd come out. They'd be like, "Oh, I think the greatest band in the whole scene is really going to blow up. We just saw Baby Spit last night.
Yeah,
and only 5 people were there." And they're going to be the next Sex Pistols.
Was it?
And the crazy thing is nobody knows it, and you guys aren't going to play their videos. And we all went, oh my God, he's so real.
This is a band right here. I feel that was one of those bands that everybody felt they had to talk about this fucking band.
I like Tad. Tad's all right.
I think their gimmick was they had a big fat guy as their lead singer.
There was. I would say Tad's up there,
this is
but
not good.
The Melvins is, I think, the better example that I can think of. Because Melvins, that's a good band. That's a good band that just had no chance of ever really hitting big.
Well, they got a lot of credit because Kurt Cobain liked them.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he sold them.
Yeah, Cobain was well. Cobain, I mean, all he did was have to drop a band's name once or do a cover sometimes, but like the Vaselines, the Beat Happening.
This is way better than Tad.
I'm trying to think of what some others were. What were bands that I wouldn't have heard of if it wasn't for Kurt Cobain? Or maybe it would have taken me a lot longer to find them. Oh, Bikini Kill.
Yeah, was it because he was dating a chick?
Yeah. What's yeah, this is a serious drummer on this album. I mean, on the Melvins. honestly, the Melvins had more influence on current metal than they did on any of the grunge stuff. But I think that's what, like, Kurt Cobain and many others liked about this band, is that they were...
I hear a lot of Soundgarden.
They were fucking going for it. Yeah. You know, there was this idea that there was this middle ground that grunge wanted to find. It was like, no, we actually really like just rocking out with loud guitars, but we don't want to do it in the way that most people have done it before us.
Yeah.
So we have to find this new way. But that's
we like
fucking
rocking
metal.
out, but our songs have to be about cars and girls.
Right. But Melvins was like, they're kind of unashamedly metal.
Yes.
And there's some other stuff. Well, like, maybe Hooch is a song. No, it had, what's the slower one? Yeah, this is a perfect example of the type of sludge or stoner metal.
Yes.
That,
you're welcome, Queens of the Stone Age.
You're right.
Hey, Caius, you're welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
And the drums sound fat.
They do. But it sounds... the drums sound like you're in a small club with the drummer.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty intimate with natural reverb. But I imagine, like, you know, this Billy Corrigan and James Iha and those guys, like the Smashing Pumpkins getting together early on and going, man, we really like all this old metal stuff. Like, some of this is really good, but we can't just do that, right? We can't just be a metal band. And then somebody brought a Melvins record and was like, oh yeah, check this shit out. And they're like, they're fucking doing it. We can do it.
Yeah. We
can totally do this. And
sound like fucking this.
But also, the Melvins, look up a picture of them. They're just dudes. I think, like, the drummer's got long hair.
Mm-hmm.
The guitar player's got, like, my dad's haircut. You know, they're just dudes. They're dudes in fucking t-shirts and jeans.
Why would anybody like this?
I mean, I did. But I was, again, this music hit when my hormones were primed for this kind of entertainment. Could you imagine?
So bad.
I'm thinking, like, yeah, switchblade knife. That's right. I'm going to get a switchblade. I'm going to wear around one of those leather cop hats.
Trying to get a boyfriend?
Right. Yeah, by the time I was old enough to do it, it was like, that was gay shit.
I'll never understand 80s metal. Cocaine, right?
I don't know else. Yeah.
Come on over and, we have to do this little recording. We have to tell the guys about the record. Come on. You gotta do
this is a promotional?
Because it's a unbelievable with...
Why did they release an instrumental version? It's a better version. I mean, the hi-hat's a little too up in the mix, but
yeah, it's not drenched in reverb.
Yeah, it sounds like they actually did just kind of a demo version for it. Yeah,
bring this with you to karaoke.
This is much better. Yeah, trim off the top where they're talking shit. Doing some of that.
Well, if that sounds good. That means this will sound way better.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, Tommy Lee sounds like a drummer.
Yeah. It's funny, like, without all the reverb on the drums, you can actually tell that he's doing some cool shit in there. Yeah, definitely bring that hi-hat way down. You can tell it's kind of a dashed-off mix. You probably just get it live. I mean, the guitar is a little sloppy, but all right. Just saying, like, if CeCe was trying to play that shit in Dave Mustaine's band, he'd be kicked the fuck out.
You know, right?
Like, no. Tighter, choppier, and faster, you pussy.
Yeah. Better go home and practice your 64th notes, pal.
Yeah.
The Weedsman Podcast. ChristopherMedia.net.
Get your space ready for the year ahead at Macy's one-day sale. Going on now with deals of the day like 3-piece comforter sets, $24.99. Get creative in the kitchen with cookware sets, just $39.99. And prep for a future getaway with 65 to 75% off luggage closeouts from Samsonite, Travel Pro, Delsey, and more. Plus, get your .com orders fast with contact-free curbside pickup. Or you can pick them up inside the store. For details, visit Macy's.com. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
At Jewelers Mutual, we're a little obsessed with jewelry. Obsessed like auctioneers with talking fast.
50, we're going to
pop stars with auto-tune.
Yeah.
And dentists with asking questions.
So, how did he propose?
After they've put their hands in your mouth.
Great.
Yes, we've made jewelry our obsession for over 100 years. We love it so much we named our kids Ruby, Amber, and Opal.
Venti soy latte for Opal?
At Jewelers Mutual, we insure jewelry and only jewelry, which is why people who are also obsessed with jewelry trust us with theirs.
ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.